Recently, during one of my live streams, I got talking with my chat about metaverse projects and how we feel about them and whether there is actually a need for them at the moment. That got me thinking, and I did some research, and I've come out with what I think is an absolute gem of a project. So, if that's something that interests you, make sure you're watching all the way to the end of the video. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, smash that subscribe button, hit that like button as well, and of course, the bell notification so you know when another video goes live. So the project that we're going to be talking about today is called Games for a Living, or GFAL. And I really do think that this project has some great potential. So currently sitting at pretty much $9 million in market cap, it's extremely low. And one thing that possibly does concern me is the tokenomics sitting at only 6% circulation, but we are going to touch a little bit more on tokenomics later on in the video, and you'll see why that maybe it might not be a terrible thing, or not something that is too concerning. Now, basically, Games for Living is a metaverse project with a few slight tweaks. If you have a look at their website, taking a look at their website, we can see that yes, they are game developers, but they also offer a platform where other developers can deploy their games onto the network. And that is very important, because if you are just focusing on game development, then it's not necessarily going to be a good thing for you, because when people get bored of the game, as we have been saying in these things before, people get bored, they move away from your game, and then the token value is gone, and anybody who's invested their money goes down to zero. If you have people developing games that are available, and it's not only yourself focusing on these games, of course, then this is going to have value, it's going to have a use case, and the value of the coin is only going to go up. So moving on and looking at the actual website for GFAL, there are a couple of interesting things that I do like. Now, they've got NFTs 2.0, and they've also got what they call Gas 2.0. Now, NFT 2.0, essentially you will have NFTs that you will mint from these games, but they can be expanded upon. So it's not only a once-off mint. If you, for example, have a character in a game that you add, an item of armor or something that improves your character, that gets minted onto your NFT. So your new NFT then has more value. And then they have something else called this Gas 2.0, which is around battle passes. Now, for anybody who doesn't play games or understand what a battle pass system is, essentially it's a way that gamers, with free games, for example, make sure that they can earn money through microtransactions. So they have a season for a game, you go ahead, you buy this battle pass, and as you progress through the battle pass, you get certain items. It might be monetary value, it might be a skin for your character, it might be a few other add-ons that you can use in the game. And they've made sure that they've actually expanded on this battle pass solution and evolved it into something that you can use, you can add to your NFTs. And I think that just sort of fits in nicely with the NFT 2.0. They have a couple of other sort of things that they are solving as well. They say solving the Web3 accessibility issue, building games for a living, which makes blockchain features accessible to everyone. So simple login, which is great to see, because that does sometimes affect a lot of people within the Web3 space, especially new people who are not used to it. Easy cash in and out, one token ecosystem, and tax management as well. So they are adding a tax management feature for anybody who would need that. So they are solving an issue. And what is interesting about this is that this solution is fully integratable with a game into, if it's just a marketplace or just a battle pass. So individuals can go ahead and play the game. It doesn't have to be on the blockchain. But the blockchain itself is integrated into the game for certain features, which I think is something that is nice, because you're getting that Web 2 where people can still play the game, but you're bringing in the crypto blockchain feature into it as well. Having a look right now, there are only 2 games, but there are some more that are in development. And there are plans to bring these games to mobile, so Android and iOS, as well as PS5 and Xbox. There's been talk about it as well. So from that perspective, if you're expanding to a really wide array of gaming platforms, of course you're going to be making money. And making the console gamers aware of this is actually pretty good. There's a massive market for the consoles, and of course I'm pretty sure PC will be along for the ride as well. But just making it available for consoles, I think you're expanding your operations into an untapped market when it comes to Web3 games. They do have some latest news as well. One of the biggest ones is that they're launching on the Galaxy Store for Samsung, which is pretty exciting for them. Now, guys, just before we go on, Just wanted to chat about my Patreon. If it is something that interests you, make sure you're checking out the link below. Like I've said before, there is a tier for everybody, whether it's getting my videos early, if you're interested in my buy alerts, my sell alerts, or even one-on-one consultations with myself. There really is something for everybody, so go ahead, check it out if that's something that interests you. If not, I do have the free Telegram. We're growing a really good crypto grind community there as well, some amazing individuals. So click that link, become part of the crypto grind community. Of course, we would love to have you there. So moving on to a little bit about GFAL itself and what they really have as tools for the developers, which is a nice feature that I like to see. So they have a really nice developer portal. They have an ID system that essentially gives the developers, players, authentication IDs, a really nice sort of authentication system so they can authenticate their players. And you can access all your stuff through this sort of authentication process, which is really nice to see. There's a Games for a Living wallet that they're also integrating into games. So all of your funds go into this Games for a Living wallet, which then integrates quite nicely into the marketplace of the game itself. And obviously, if there's any sort of microtransactions with the game, you will be using your wallet that is integrated into the game. They have game analytics for developers so they can see what's going right, what's going wrong, where they can improve their solution as well. Token creation and NFT creation, and also live events for developers. So they're really offering a nice, easy toolkit for developers to build games, deploy for GFAL and through GFAL, and then let their players play. So I think we might see some really good AAA titles eventually filtering through into this space. Now that also segues into what I like to see, and that is the team. Now, when we're talking about this team, they actually have assembled a pretty big all-star team. Manal Sort is the CEO. He was the first vice president of Blizzard. Now, Blizzard is actually a huge organization developing some of the biggest online games in the world, including one of their latest releases, which is Diablo 4. And also later on, he managed a company and he was really high up in King. Now, for those of you who don't realize, King created one of the most addictive games in the mobile space in recent history, and that is Candy Crush. So he really understands mobile gaming, he understands gaming as a whole, and is a really interesting and good individual to lead the team. Second up, we have Chip Hawkins, who is their CSO. Now, he was the founder and former CEO of Electronic Arts, one of the biggest gaming companies in the space. So again, he really knows how to manage games. He understands the industry backwards and is someone that you want on your team when you are building a project like this. Then we're moving on to Javier Leon. He has been involved with Sega and Netflix, and even being involved with Activision to a certain extent with designing logos, so he understands all the CGI behind certain things. He even was a part of the award-winning Netflix series The Crown, so he really understands CGI and the gaming industry as a whole. And the other two gents here, so the other one is Christian Gascons. Again, I hope I said his name correctly. He has experience at Blizzard as well, so he understands games, both client and server programming in cross-platform free-to-play online games. Cross-platform. When we're talking about mobile, when we're talking about PC, Xbox, PlayStation, it's all there. He understands how to create these games and make sure they're working on every platform, meaning they're tapping into every single sort of marketplace in the gaming space. And then finally, Mark Tormo, 14 years experience specializing in free-to-play games. Again, very important when we're talking about this. And he's also coming from a Blizzard background, so some big names from the industry, which gives me confidence that this team really understands what they are doing. Just checking out their roadmap quickly, they are hitting all their targets, something I like to see. And even in 2023, they've had their public sale on launch pads, they've launched their token, they've had their PC and Mac release for Elemental Raiders, which is one of their first games. And they keep going on. So they've been to different gaming events. They've been to Argentina. Coming up in Q3, which is quite nice, is they're going to be carrying on with their soft launch for mobile for Elemental Raiders. So that is coming for iOS and eventually Android as well. They've got pre-alpha for their second game, Diamond Dreams. And in Q4, we're going to see Elemental Raiders full launch for Android and iOS. And I think that's when you're really going to see the price of this token absolutely rocket, in my opinion. And then they've got some other third-party game releases coming up before the end of 2023. Now, we did talk a little bit about tokenomics. We said that they weren't the best, but if you actually have a look at the distribution, I'm not too concerned, and I think we will see that improve over time. It's going to be very slow, and I don't think it's going to hurt the overall market cap before the next bull run. So we had 15% in a private sale. The team itself, 18%, 2% to advisors, and they're also holding back a fair amount to attract developers, and that's going to be about 20%. So the foundation is going to be attracting developers as well as ways to improve the chain and so on. Now, the team did take about 18%, so it can seem worrying, but there's a lockup of 12 months and a 108-month vesting period as well. So we're going to see a very slow release of these coins over the next 108 months. So it's going to be a very long time before they have this full release. So this 1.8 million tokens that we have there out of a total of 10 billion is going to be sort of locked up for a very, very, very long time. So I'm really not too worried about that. And then also they have put quite a bit towards marketing, which is quite nice to see. They are going to be focusing quite a bit on marketing. Of course, any project you want to see good marketing, because then that's how the project is going to grow and how they're making sure that they're going to be doing well. Lastly, moving on to their Twitter and their socials, 52,000 followers, so they are growing, fairly small community, but they are vocal. They're talking all the time about their project, which is great. So all in all, I can see this project doing pretty well. 100x only takes it to 800 million, so I would say 100x is definitely on the cards for something this solid. Make sure you're doing all your own research. Nothing I say is financial advice, but we could see this project doing more than 100x. Who knows how much? I would say at max of 500x at the height of the next bull run, depending on how everything goes. But right now, we're very early on. It's an absolute gem of a product and a coin project, in my opinion. That's all that I'm going to be talking about today. Make sure you're commenting down below how you think this project is going to go. If you are into GFAL, if you're going to be getting into it now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.